I was 38, living in New York City, and had almost given up on love. Life had worn me down, long work hours, a broken marriage, and friends moving on with their lives. My world had become a routine of cold coffee, quiet nights, and an apartment that felt emptier with each passing day. Then he walked into my life. It was a rainy Friday afternoon when my umbrella flipped inside out, drenching me from head to toe. That's when a stranger stepped beside me, holding out his umbrella with a smile. He was Daniel, 42, a former travel photographer who had returned to the city after years abroad. We started talking that day, and somehow we didn't stop. Morning texts turned into evening walks. Coffee dates became weekend adventures. He told me stories of faraway places, sunsets in Italy, and strangers who became family. For the first time in years, I laughed without forcing it. I looked forward to waking up. Daniel taught me that life wasn't over just because things hadn't gone the way I planned. He showed me how to dance in the park without caring who was watching, how to taste food slowly, as if every bite told a story, how to see beauty in the ordinary. And just when I thought I was falling in love again, it happened. One evening, as we watched the city lights from the Brooklyn Bridge, he handed me a small envelope. Inside was a postcard from Paris, dated 10 years ago.
It was addressed to me.
My hands shook as I read the words. I don't know if we'll ever meet, but if we do, I promise to make you smile again. I looked at him, stunned. Daniel's eyes softened. I saw you once years ago, he said. You looked so sad, and I promised myself if life ever gave me the chance, I'd find you. I thought I was too old for change. But that night I realized, sometimes love has been walking toward you for years, it just arrives right on time. After Daniel gave me the postcard, my world felt unreal. I kept staring at the date, 10 years ago. Where had he been all that time? And why hadn't he tried to find me sooner? We grew even closer in the weeks that followed. We cooked together in my tiny apartment, shared our worst fears under city stars, and even planned a short trip to Boston. But there was something, a shadow, in Daniel's eyes. Sometimes I'd catch him looking at me, as if memorizing my face. Other times, he'd get quiet when I asked about his travels. One chilly evening, while Daniel was in the shower, my phone buzzed. The message came from an unknown number. You don't know who he really is. Ask him about November 14th. My heart pounded. November 14th? That was the exact date on the postcard. When he came out, I pretended nothing had happened. But inside, 1,000 questions burned. That night, I couldn't sleep. I searched his name online. Buried deep in old articles, I found something that made my breath stop, a news report from 10 years ago. It said a man named Daniel Lawson had been reported missing in Paris on November 14th and was never found. The next day, we met at our favorite cafe. I slid my phone across the table, showing him the article. His hand trembled as he put down his coffee. I was gone for a long time, he said quietly. And there are things I can't tell you.
Not yet.
But I came back for you. Before I could respond, the cafe door opened. A man in a dark coat walked in, scanned the room, and locked eyes on Daniel. Daniel's face went pale. He leaned toward me and whispered, "If anything happens, remember I kept my promise." Then he stood up and walked toward the man. I never saw him again. After Daniel disappeared from that cafe, days turned into weeks without a word. I searched everywhere, his apartment, our favorite spots, even hospitals. Nothing. Then one snowy morning, an envelope slid under my door. No stamp, no name, just my address and his handwriting. Inside was a single note. Meet me at Pier 17. Midnight. Come alone. The pier was nearly empty when I arrived, the wind biting through my coat. Daniel stood there, leaning against a lamppost, looking older, wearier but alive. I didn't want to involve you, he said, his voice rough. But you deserve the truth. 10 years ago in Paris, Daniel had witnessed something dangerous involving powerful people. He had been forced into hiding, traveling under false names, always on the run. The night he wrote that postcard to me, he had seen me sitting alone at a cafe in New York during one of his brief returns. You looked so sad. I promised myself I'd find you when it was safe. But it's not safe, is it? I asked. He shook his head.
They found me again.
That man in the cafe, he's part of it. I only came back to tell you. I love you. And I always will. Tears burned my eyes. Then don't go. We can disappear together. Daniel smiled sadly, brushing a strand of hair from my face. If I take you with me, you'll never have a life. I'd rather you remember me like this, not as a shadow. Before I could stop him, he pressed a warm kiss to my forehead, whispered, "Live for both of us," and walked away into the fog. That was the last time I saw him. But sometimes, when I pass by the Brooklyn Bridge, I swear I can feel him there watching, keeping his promise.